Welcome to the Professor Slots podcast. You know how you put a lot of time and energy into your slots play for not nearly enough wins? Yeah, I get it. I'm here to help you change that. If you're trying to accelerate your slots momentum, become more profitable, and win more than ever before, today's episode will help you move forward with confidence. And now to help you with over a decade of experience working with slots enthusiasts just like you, here's John Friedel, also known as Professor Slots. Hello, slots enthusiasts. It's great to hang out with you again for another Professor Slots podcast episode I do every few days to help you improve your slots performance, lead with your winnings, and ultimately change your life for the better. And hopefully today I'm going to help you change your life a little bit so you can visit your casino and play slots smarter. And sometimes the best way we can do that to change slots enthusiasts' lives for the better is when they enter a business relationship with us. They become a client, they buy our online courses, they start getting coaching from us, whatever the case may be. Because you have ways to take advantage of your casino, which allows you to impact how much you win and then leave with your winnings. In case you missed it, in my last episode, I went over top 5 misunderstandings of slot machine gamblers, the Kansas slots industry, and provided a Q&A session from one of my past live streams. I hope you enjoyed listening to my last episode as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Today's episode number 189 includes a review of the slots industry in Kentucky later in the episode, followed by a Q&A session from a prior live stream. But I begin for you today with, will Professor Slots cause the end of casinos? So you're reading my content and you're using it to win. That's great. But with all your winning, will Professor Slots cause the end of casinos? I was watching an interview of the physicist Neil deGrasse Tyson called Get Over It. He's used that title for a couple of them, like his interview on Pluto. In this one, he was asked if the universe would end in another Big Bang or what. His answer was that 40 years ago, it was a little uncertain, but these days we know that's a no. The universe will end eventually, and that we should get over it. Have I mentioned that I'm a physicist? I'm not just a physicist, I'm other things too, but it's a big part of my training as a research scientist. And have I mentioned that I'm a research scientist? I was laid off in 2021 during the pandemic, along with 1 in 3 coworkers, none of whom had a PhD, oddly enough, from a primary jet engine manufacturer where most recently I was studying artificial intelligence to, well, let's just say it had military funding. Anyway, I thought Neil deGrasse Tyson had a good question which applies to slots. Will Professor Slots cause the end of casinos? And if so, when? Let's discuss it. In 2008, there was a blockbuster movie called 21. It was based on a book from 2003 called Bringing Down the House, the inside story of 6 MIT students who took Vegas for millions. While being a work of nonfiction, the book had significant fictional elements and was based on the MIT blackjack team of 1993. I mention these dates because it tells us how long we have as an outside estimate. 30 years. Counting from early 2021, when casinos pretty much killed off successful card counting with infinite card shuffling devices, the clock has started for us. Based on the lifetime of blackjack card counting, it'll be over for us with slots around year 2050, and perhaps sooner. Maybe. What happened with blackjack card counting was the MIT blackjack team found a mathematical approach to winning at blackjack. That's all there is to card counting, a workable, repeatable strategy. In blackjack, you see a card being used and know your odds of getting that card again. With a single deck, never. With 2 decks, only once more. That's where it all started. Over the next 30 years, casinos and card counters went back and forth. The MIT blackjack team was basically kicked out of Vegas casinos, so they used disguises. Casinos retaliated by asking for government-issued IDs. The MIT blackjack team countered by training others to be card counters. Casinos then added more decks to each table game. So the MIT blackjack team figured out the math of that too. Then casinos added surveillance cameras to watch card games and hired card counters to identify patterns of play used by other card counters like splitting tens and more. And even more decks were added. Eventually, after more than 20 years, infinite deck shuffler technology was invented. And that is pretty much the situation we have today, the demise of blackjack card counting. With this card counting example, let's examine if anything like that is happening with slots. First off, card counting existed before the MIT blackjack team, and some of my methods, like my 5-spin strategy, is very old. How old? I saw it in a Columbo episode from 1975, and there's a season 1 episode of The Twilight Zone called The Fever from 1960, which more or less explains it. While I didn't invent the 5-spin method, I have popularized it. It's my most watched video on YouTube. Looking at my 5-spin strategy alone, what effect has it had on casinos? Fans like you have told me that everyone uses it at my casino. Many fans have told me this is happening at their casinos. I don't know what effect this method has had on casinos because I don't have access to their finances. It wouldn't take much for them to feel the hurt. A medium-sized casino in Indiana makes $1.8 billion in monthly revenue, but typically gives back 90% of it as winnings. So their monthly profit before utilities and other bills is $180 million. How much must casinos lose of that $180 million to be upset? Likely anything at all. If they are losing $1 million a month, around 0.5%, they'll want to know why, and they will want to do something about it. And they can. They have. They choose to have the 5-spin method at their casino because they used it to manipulate players to spend more money after winning a little bit. But only about 1 in 4 casinos do this. I suspect a lot more casinos used this in the 60s and 70s and in later decades. It's only at 1 in 4 casinos now, so their option is to get rid of it. For the 5-spin method to no longer work like it already doesn't work at 3 out of 4 casinos. Heck, the more popular my 5-spin videos get, the more likely Las Vegas itself will start getting rid of it. There, every casino has it. Their method of removing financial losses is to turn down the odds so nobody wins, to make slot machines tight like the difference between the last week of the year and the first week of the new year. It's so shocking. They don't turn off the 5-spin method because it's part of their operating system and expensive to change. They just turn down wins until you're still getting a taste but no longer making a profit. So that's the casino's out. They have something they are already able to do to combat their losses. Yes, they lose this tried and true player manipulation method, and maybe they investigate some other form of manipulation. My strategies are based on the casino's attempt to manipulate you. They have a strategy to get your bankroll, to which I have designed counter strategies to take advantage of them instead. But my videos describing them aren't getting nearly as many views as my 5-spin method, yet. Oh, and there's a barrier to my YouTube channel popularity. Casinos and their colleagues in the slots industry have set this up. Players have been told for years, mostly due to a video from 2009 with over 10 million views, that slot machines are completely random. That video explains how slot machines supposedly work, was created by a table game expert. After all, having table game expertise means you know how slots work, right? Nope. A table game expert looked at a slot machine and said, if it was a table game, how might it work? And so they explained it that way. And for more than 10 years, that was the one educational slots video available. Other table game experts have come out with educational slots videos, but they basically repeated the ideas from that first video. All of them repeated that first slots video, I think because of the views, until I didn't. I couldn't, because that video is wrong. And casinos love this video about how slot machines are full luck-based devices. Why? Because it says you have no control. Luck-based winning at slots means nothing you do will or can matter. As a physicist, trust me that that's what luck means. Yet we know strategies matter to slots. But so many slots players have been told nothing they do matters. And they believe that, so they don't try. They don't bother. Central to my content is that winning at slots is more than just luck. And you're reading this because you've seen something, a lot of some things, which don't match fully luck-based gambling. There are so many things you might have seen. And so you went looking for answers and found me. That's how I grow. You went looking for me. And then there are those who didn't. Slot players clinging tight, sometimes with all their might, to the idea that slot machines are fully luck-based. And those people are being eroded away by others around them who are winning. Whole casinos winning with a 5-spin method, yet non-believers denying it exists, again and again and again. And those are the slots players giving their hard-earned bankrolls to casinos. But as my popularity increases, as slots players who only think slots are luck-based turn into slots enthusiasts who take advantage of their casino, casinos will lose money. What might casinos do then? So you're learning to win. Well done. But with all your winning, what might casinos do next? Improve your slots performance in 30 days or less with 30 days to play slots smarter and win. You also get 3 free valuable bonuses, including 1 month free to my Slots IQ membership group, where you'll get community support and accountability. Visit professorslots.com/30 days to learn more about the free bonuses, course content, and testimonials from participants. In the next segment of the show, I provide a brief overview of the current state of gambling in a U.S. state, territory, or the federal district, emphasizing the gaming industry for slots enthusiasts. Let's go over Kentucky's gaming industry for playing slots. Kentucky slot machine casino gambling consists of 7 parlors offering pari-mutuel electronic gaming machines, 4 of which are at horse racetracks. The 8th site is under construction. The minimum legal gambling age in Kentucky depends upon the gambling activity. For land-based casinos, it's 21. For poker rooms, it's not available. For bingo, the lottery, and pari-mutuel wagering, it's 18. Historically, Kentucky has had a fascinating relationship with gambling. While casino gambling was never legal, gambling dens were prevalent before the Great Depression of 1929. To this day, the open display of illegal gambling from that time in American history continues to negatively affect the perception of gaming in Kentucky. Kentucky's Constitution prohibits Class III Vegas-style slot machines. In 2011, historic horse racing, HHR, electronic gaming machines arrived in Kentucky. These gaming devices look like slot machines, but the results of each bet made are based on many past anonymous horse racing results from across the U.S. Based on pari-mutuel wagering regulations for horse races, the HHR machines circumvented the constitutional prohibition against slot machines. In recent years, HHRs have become increasingly, some say wildly, popular. Kentucky's flourishing gaming industry has recently come under scrutiny by state lawmakers. Why? Because most of the taxes generated by HHR machines go to the horse racing industry funds and programs. Since 2011, HHR bets total $5.3 billion. About $80 million went to taxes, of which $51 million went to the horse industry. Only $29 million went to general tax revenue for the state. While this $29 million may seem like a lot, Kentucky lawmakers noticed it's substantially less than the tax revenue received from slot machine bets in other states. These HHR machines revived the horse racing industry in Kentucky, and manufacturers of these games are looking to expand across the U.S. And the Commonwealth of Kentucky has decided it wants a bigger piece of the pie. For more details, see WDRB's top story in its Sunday edition from mid-2019. Is Kentucky being shortchanged on its slots? In February 2021, state lawmakers came to an agreement to push off a controversial tax increase until 2022. Next up is a short statement about slot machine private ownership, which I have included in case you live in this U.S. state and are considering owning a slot machine. Here it is. In Kentucky, it is legal to own a slot machine privately. The Kentucky Horse Racing Commission, KHRC, regulates skill-based games at pari-mutuel racetracks in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. These devices are historic horse racing electronic gaming machines. In February 2021, the KHRC reported Kentucky offers 3,672 HHR machines, a nearly 20% increase from the year before. In this section, I'll discuss Kentucky gambling establishments. Kentucky has 7 commercial sites with HHR electronic gaming machines, with an additional site under construction. The largest casino in Kentucky is Oak Grove Racing Casino Hotel. The second largest is Red Mile Gaming and Racing, KRM, an HHR parlor in partnership with Keeneland Racecourse. There are 7 gambling establishments offering HHR gaming machines in Kentucky. As usual, when there are too many casinos to mention here, a complete list along with a casino map are on my webpage for the state at professorslots.com/KY. The Commonwealth of Kentucky has no federally recognized American Indian tribes and therefore is unable to have tribal casinos. As an alternative to enjoying Kentucky gaming, consider exploring casino options in a nearby state. Bordering Kentucky is to the north, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. To the east, West Virginia. To the southeast, Virginia. To the south, Tennessee. And to the west, Missouri. To visit any of my articles in these U.S. states, simply visit professorslots.com, followed by its 2-letter postal designation. For example, my Illinois slots article is available at professorslots.com/IL. The Commonwealth of Kentucky does not offer any theoretical payout limits on HHR gaming machines. However, return statistics are available after a bit of number crunching. The KHRC offers monthly return statistics for HHR gaming under Reports. I wish I could provide the Kentucky return-to-player graphs I have created, but it's not practical on an audio podcast. In summary, Kentucky gaming exists at 7 sites and an additional site under construction as competition-based historic horse racing gaming machines where the results of bets are based on many past horse race results. Improve your slots performance in 30 days or less with my 30 days to play slots smarter and win. You also get 3 free valuable bonuses plus 1 month free to my Slots IQ membership group where you'll get community support and accountability. Visit ProfessorSlots.com/30 days to learn more about the free bonuses, course content, and testimonials from participants. You can also get this course free if you sign up for my advanced slots course called Slots Labs at ProfessorSlots.com/SL. Next up is the question and answer session for my initial rendition of today's topic from a prior live stream. I'll talk with you again afterwards. Enjoy. And see the many comments. I think we have... Yep, I noted the donation from Magpie. I very much appreciate all the donations. I thought somebody was at the casino right now and was talking about a hand pay, but I think that was mostly what they wanted. So Charles Morris, when I play, I'll come back to the topic, but I want to answer questions because people are here to do that as well. So when I play a multi-game machine, does it reset when I change to a different game on the machine that I'm playing? So multi-game machines are something that we're starting to see. And the reset is when the machine is left alone. So you're asking me if there's another reset, which, so you're saying if you're on a machine and you've been playing one of the games for a while and then you switch, would it be reset? And I'm going to say, I used to believe that the casinos, because what I saw, that casinos were not changing any machine except when it was idle, and that's gone. Places I saw that, it was very obvious. Now I see the odds changing on the hour. My card is still in it, my money's still in it, and on the hour, it just for the hour before and the hour after, that's when the switch occurred. All these wins and then all these other things that were happening. I went from endless bonus rounds and making a profit in the hour before 7:00 at Miami Valley Gaming. And then I didn't take my card out, didn't take my money out. And in the hour after, no more bonus rounds, zero bonus rounds. But I won as much because I had line hits. So they didn't change the odds in that instance, but they changed something. And so they can do it nowadays. They can do it on machines that are, that you're actively playing. So the reset from that example, if it's not a riverboat casino or, a convenience store casino with a few machines, they can do it anytime. They don't have to wait for that. So yes, they can do a reset, and they might choose not to. They might choose to, give you a win to start when you change. A lot of people say will they make a change? And the assumption is they will lower it. But I've pointed out that you don't know if they're going to lower it or raise it. They might want to give you an incentive to keep playing when you change the machine. So you might try the 5-pull method, change to a different game, proceed with the 5-spin method for 5 bets, switch to another game. This would be great at casinos, which are packed and it's hard to find another machine. All right. So I think I've answered that question enough. Okay. No problem, Joanna. Union Betty often asks us a question. Hello, Professor. Last week went to our local casino, and when you know it, I forgot everything you taught us. And that's part of what I want to talk about in a little bit. Started chasing a bonus that had to hit by a certain number instead of 5 spins. The casinos, work hard to get you to do that. That's manipulation for you. And I've tried to have the counter strategy of the 5-pull method to help you, go from machine to machine and take the win they want you to proceed to spend. And so that it takes time and practice. I find that when people use the 5-spin method and it works at their casino, remember 1 and 4, and it works, they will have incentive to remember a little better the next time. But it can be hard to get started on that. Good point. And that's a part of what I want to talk about in a moment. Nora Ann, aloha, I'm back in Hawaii, where gambling doesn't exist. Yes. I think I released the podcast episode from Mark about living in Hawaii, but gambling on the 9th Hawaiian island called Las Vegas. And Patty says, was at my local Soaring Eagle and hit same time last week, 10 a.m. both times. Had just under hand pay, but a few of them. His strategies work. I'm glad that you had that win. And, congratulations. It's under the hand pay amount by a little bit. When people talk about, I'd like to win, but I'd like to win a certain amount, not over this, not under this, but right there. And I'm just like, oh, come on. It's like throwing a dart at the state of Connecticut. Who knew that I was going to land on a tough spot? Or throwing a dart at the state of Michigan and landing on Flint, Michigan. That should get a few people riled up. I'm glad that it worked for you. I'm glad that you got the amount, which is, the amount is not something we're going for. We're going for winning something. And so I'm glad that you won the right amount. That's great. And let's see, I think I have, yes. Sport Guy 17, thank you for the $5 donation. I very much appreciate it. Lost $600 on a mighty case slot machine went the next day on the machine and won $1,600 and then $1,300 back to back. So I took it and ran out the door. As I have mentioned, congratulations, wonderful, and thank you for the tip. As I have mentioned, it's easy. We had a live stream on this. It's easy to learn how to win. It's hard to do the next step. Get out. So, congratulations on doing that. And where am I at? Questions. Let's see. So Union Betty is continuing. I probably spun 500 and never got on the bonus. Then Gambler's Remorse kicked in. The point is I need to adhere to a proven method, learned a good lesson that night. And it's worth the money. It's worth the money, but only if you learn the lesson. All right? So make that money work for you and learn. Okay. It's lots of fun. Sometimes playing with a spotter can help you walk away with winnings. And yeah. Having a friend go with you who drags you away, or having a spouse who's more likely to keep it and then not give it back to you before leaving the casino. There are advantages to taking somebody with you. There are disadvantages, which is like, looks like I've lost all my money, so give me some of yours that you've been winning. And then they spend that too. And so it goes. Or, there are people who don't know me, don't know my strategies, and go into the casino and turn in the circle 3 times with their eyes, hand is over their eyes, and then point to a slot machine, and that's the one that they play, rather than using location, or waiting for the whole casino to be winning so that, you win too. And, when you go with somebody who's resistant, then it can hurt you. I hope nobody gets a divorce or anything like that. I've had spouses come on and they're like both big fans, and then one of them isn't. And then, but then I've had, you may remember Rodney on the podcast, who was showing his mom has, it doesn't have great eyesight. And he pointed out the machine for her and she won the grand. And not a grand, the grand. And, she's like, tell me more. Right. So I think we've asked that. Thank you, Oklahoma Freedom. He's answering Charles and says, I believe it does. A slot machine attendant told me it does percentage changes on each type of game. Thank you for that insight. Yes, you too, Slot Hunter. Take care. Yes. So Shannon says because, and to a prior comment, because it wasn't in its payout cycle. That's it. So the payout cycle, from what I'm trying to understand of maybe how you put it, is one of my strategies about how everybody is winning, and so therefore it's how. Let's see, where are you at? Where? Come on. I use different. Slots of Fun says I use different denomination bills set to some 5 spin limits and others aside for chasing a progressive. Yeah, that's what we talked about. I think it was even last week of that sort, is combining strategies, which is something that we'll all start doing. And did I? Yep, I did that one. And electronic blackjack, and there's a question from Linda. I have not graduated to high limit. Does the 5 spin method work on non-high limit? Yes, it works on all the casinos, all the slot machines in a casino, if it works at that casino. And also, to make a profit, you have to use it when it's possible, when they haven't made everything tight. So, yes. And, there's nobody forcing you to go to high limits. One of the things you're seeing on not the educational slots channels, but on the entertainment slots channels, is bigger bets, bigger bets, bigger bets, bigger bets, bigger bets, because it's somehow exciting. I get excited. I used to go in with $3,000 and play high limits, and that was what I did personally. That's where I learned a lot of these things. But, for a year or two, I've been going in with $300 because I want to see what it's like for most of us. And yes, it does work, even if you have a $100 bankroll. And you can look at my casino reviews about that. And we have a scammer. And moving on. Apparently, they haven't gotten the message that they will not be seen, and they are out forever. I think I'm good. I'm the one that brought up blackjack. So Ian says, when I play electronic blackjack, I can tell when high cards are predominant and when low cards are predominant. Do slot machines follow a similar pattern? Tell me what it is that you're seeing, or send me an email about what it is you're seeing. Basically, if you're on a winning machine, people, see a machine that has a win. Somebody won, and they say, okay, that's it. That's all there is. It gave out what it was going to give out, and it was on a timer, and now it won't be for quite a long time. And I'm like, what are you even talking about? It's a winning machine. Either was a lightning strike, and maybe that's it, but it could also be like a winner. So find out which one. When you sit down at a slot machine and it doesn't show a win, then, you're like, well, I don't know if it's a winning machine or not. And I thought about doing a video on how to tell. But if there's a win showing on the machine, you're just like, okay, it's possible that this is. I need to check if it still is, or if it was just fully luck-based, because that happens. It is possible for it not to be a winning machine that just gave out a win. And so, we're not trying to make luck-based wins happen. We're trying to check to see, is that machine a winner? Because it's viewable from a distance during a time when the whole casino was winning. So Sort of, yeah. But I have to not talk about slot machines as though I'm a table game or video blackjack player. I have to talk about slot machines like I'm a slot machine expert. So, but I can translate it for you into blackjack. And Art and Tina White, what are Miami odds of winning? So you did ask about Miami, so it sounds like you know what's going on. I have a let's see, can I bring that up? I might be able to bring that up. Where is it at? I've been working on state by state return to player, and I have a upcoming analysis. Yes. And I'll share this for you. And let me just take a second and do that. What I've got here is a graph, which I hope isn't too disturbing. Let me get rid of your question so you can see this a little better. Right. So this is the last 2 years, beginning of April. Last 2019, and right through the gap there is when the pandemic hit. I added 2019 so you would see what a normal year was like. And then there's afterwards, right up until the end of, I think it's actually January's numbers. I don't know if February is out yet, but if you go looking at that, so I'm trying to work on updating my Florida article. These are the casinos in Miami, not the tribal casinos, because they only provide this for the commercial casinos, the 8 of them. And Magic City is up here. It used to be kind of like second, but now they're pretty even. And then Hialeah Park was number 1, but now it's kind of like tied with Magic City. For goodness sakes, don't go to Isle Pompano. And I know I'm pronouncing that terribly. I apologize, but that's the one that's down here with a gap. And for once, the Calder dropped to this low. And so, these two, green is Hialeah Park and brown is Magic City. And then black down here is Isle Pompano. And this will get you the numbers over here. It's like 3% difference. And as I try to explain to people, 2.5% improvement is worthy of a backflip. Even if you can't do a backflip, you'd still try. It's like the difference between a dead casino and everybody winning. And so 3% is over the 2.5%. So there you go. It's right there in the state statistics. Let's see. That's lots of fun. Do you recommend pooling with other players on one machine? What you need is a winning machine. There's people who have said, I want to give you money. I would like you to take my $3,000 and go to a slot machine and give me the winnings. Heck, I'll even split the winnings with you. 80-20, 50-50. And I'm like, I have my own $3,000. And if I want to do that, I will go and not give you any of it. But no. If you're on a winning machine, you're on a winning machine. The only reason you'd pool money is because maybe it's high limit and you want to get more than 3 bets of $50 each to spend your $150. But if you had 10 people, it could be $1,500. So, that's a strategy. If you want to do that, there's reasons to do it, but it's not because you're doing it to win. You're doing it, you're thinking like a fully luck-based player. It doesn't take much to win if you can find the casino that has a 5-pool method and then prove it on minimum bets on low-limit machines and go to high limit. If it does prove out to make a profit and to be there and make a profit, then you go to a high-limit room and you take your $150 and you win that way. So I'm sorry. I know that going with friends is a social event, and that's great too. I don't mean to say don't go with friends. It's just like, why are you doing it when you could do it yourself? Okay. Seascape feedback says a lot of these answers are contingent on class type of machine played. Absolutely. But that doesn't apply to, most people aren't in Oklahoma playing class 2 machines. Most tribal casinos outside of Oklahoma have very few class 2 machines because they make more money on class 3 machines. So yes, I am not addressing the state of Washington slots players who their games depend upon the state lottery. That has its own method. It depends for it's scratch tickets, unique for any other state. So they know that they have to reference older videos that are about Washington state, which when I talk about that isn't about any other state. So class 2 machines, no, they don't function this way. Class 3 machines. So if you're at Oklahoma casino, and I was talking to somebody this morning about that, Chuck, different Chuck, you have to play the class 3 machines in the tribal casino, and it could be 80% class 2 machines. So people, they were telling me it doesn't work. And I'm like, did you play the class 3 machines only? No. Okay. Class 2 machines. No. I want to visit them. They're not near me, and maybe figure out a method that would work for them, like I have with Washington slots. But just for those people who play class 2 machines. And since you said the word class, which is a federal term for gambling, and there are only class 1, class 2, and class 3, where class 1 is tribal casinos, class 2 is competition based, which in some states has been defined as video poker. But Indiana comes to mind, and class 3 is basically Vegas style slots. So you weren't referring to HHR machines, which are based on pari-mutuel wagering, and there's nothing in those laws about having a machine. It's a loophole. And so now there are historic horse racing machines, which my strategies, it's kind of the court is out. The location does work. If you play the machine next to the bar, that's the ones that are set to win, so that other people can see you win. But I'm fairly close to Kentucky, so I have had a chance to go to Derby City and Red Mile, and those it's becoming important. And then so I'm transitioning now into what I want to talk about next, which is, what does the future hold for slots? And HHR machines, historic horse racing machines, look just like slot machines. They even have these machines based on horse races, maybe 30 of them per game, per bet would be used to come with the outcome of that one bet. And it's basically used like you would have 30 credits on a penny machine, and each one of them is a squiggly line across the slot machine. And so, it's 30 races that are used to determine the outcome. And when you have HHR machines, you might think it doesn't matter to you, but they are expanding. Churchill Downs has decided to be like Mohegan Sun, to start opening casinos around the world and across the U.S. They're in the business of starting casinos or operating casinos. And so they are looking to put HHR machines into any state that has horse racing games, or rather horse races. And that means Wyoming and other states, which do not allow slot machines. But these are not slot machines. Like class 2 bingo machines are not slot machines. Only Vegas style machines are slot machines. And so other classes might include HHR, which are gaining in popularity, and you might very well see in your state soon. Any state that has horse racing. doesn't need any additional laws. They can just use the ones that exist for horse races. Okay, I didn't mean to go on about that. So I get this question all the time. Where have I been? And right now, I thank you for the donations because getting through tax season for the first time, I'm 18 months old as far as depending on this income. I've been using my savings, and so I don't have a lot of travel funds. I'd rather reach 1 million people rather than go to a single casino, and I can't do my job if I see people there. So if I were to go to every casino in the United States and I went to 2 casinos per week, there's 1,000 casinos, and it would take me 10 years to go to all of them. I have not been to California. My daughter lives in Northern California, so it's quite likely, but it might be Fire Mountain, Sacramento, that sort of thing. Got a trip planned, so whenever I travel, and I used to do more traveling when I was employed as an aerospace engineer, the evenings were spent going to where's the nearest casino? So I did reviews of Pittsburgh Rivers Casino, and others like that. And so that's what I can do. But right now, travel funds are low. Thank you, Seascape. Union Betty, Professor, what do you call it when you leave a machine, someone selts down right behind you and they hit a winner bonus? It's maddening sometimes. Did you ever experience this? Thank you. Sure. If you see that, there's an easy solution. Do everything like you were leaving. Take your money out, take your card out, pause, and then put your card back in and put your money back in, so that you're the next person. If your casino does that, that's how you take advantage. If your casino is trying to give somebody a win because they just sat down, which is certainly something they would love to do, because that person will then, all the comments today about, well, make sure you run after you win a hand pay. And people are saying, well, I didn't run after I won a hand pay. I made 500 more bets. So they know it's a problem getting out. And that's one of the things I want to talk about in the future more and more, about how do you get out of a casino with your winnings, because winning is easy, leaving is hard. So, for that particular instance, if that bothers you that somebody else won and it happens at your casino, regularly, then be that next person. Okay. Tribal casinos need to be more regulated. As both Oregon and Nevada resident, the player return percentages are significantly different from my experience, at least. Well, I don't really see it as being regulation. Tribal casinos are so highly regulated. I know there's enforcement and there's tribal courts, and it's not the state legal system necessarily, and it's different, but their whole lives depend on their casino. Commercial, it's like, well, we have a casino in the city, but we also have other industries that pay where people work. Cincinnati is Pfizer and General Electric and a bunch of other big companies. Flint, Michigan was kind of like any tribe with a single casino. Flint, Michigan had General Motors, and that was it. And so they made a movie about, if that one company went away, we're all in a bad shape. And that's how it is for tribal casinos. If that one casino shuts down, well, where's their income coming from? Where everybody works and gets paid and does all that. So commercial casino, what you're talking about is something that happens with commercial casinos as well, where the situation is such that there aren't any other casinos, like Hard Rock Tampa. There isn't another casino in 3 hours or drive away. And so they can do what they want because people accept it. Well, it's either that or not play slots. I try to tell them, save your money for your, once a year trip to Las Vegas instead. There are different circumstances in different states. can be tribal because maybe all they have is tribal, can be commercial because maybe all they have is commercial, or a mix of both. And it's like, I don't mean to sound like a physicist, even though I am one. It's like Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word was written for Windows, and Microsoft Word was written differently for Apple computers, but meant to look identical. You can't program on Windows like you can program on Macs, and vice versa. They had to make it from scratch to look identical, and it isn't. And that's kind of what's going on between commercial and tribal casinos. I hadn't made that analogy before. It's like the difference between Windows and Apple. They kind of try to get to the same result. Okay. Doug. Okay. Paula, did you correct the grammar, spelling? I'm sorry. Besides being my moderator, Paula, who thank you very much for being a moderator, she has also been an editor for me as well. So she says that it's true. Doug, I've not currently at the casino, but have had some nice hand pays in the early AM. Thank you for answering that early question. I appreciate it. Let's see. Bingo based from Jan. Bingo based Kansas and Oklahoma small casinos don't seem to have any methods to win. Right. Bingo based is don't seem to have any methods to win. There isn't like it's not possible, but I haven't specifically called it out. Do this, do this, do this, like I have for Washington, the state of Washington class 3 machines based on the scratch ticket lottery, virtual scratch tickets. And like I figured out for HHR machines in Kentucky. So you say only one I can find is older 5-reel games that show higher odds, and if machines in the area are winning, more noise. Yeah. If machines are winning, I've heard that too. It's the casino environment strategy 8, where if everybody's winning, that's when you might be able to win yourself. But if nobody's winning, then why would you expect yourself to be able to win when nobody else is? And so, yes, that's the sort of thing where, just use that hard, just make the most out of that one thing, because you got one thing. That's great. Thank you, Adrian, for saying my insight is amazing. I appreciate that. Thank you for the compliment. So in the future, and we got maybe 8 minutes left, in the future, I'm a year and a half old. Okay. The slot entertainment channels are 5, 6, and they've gotten very polished. And that's what I'm trying to do this year. It was a shock to get laid off, a shock to go, oh, now it's real. And so 18 months ago, I was like, ugh. And 18 months ago was basically a few months after I was laid off. And I got monetized. And the last day of September 2020, made $5. 487, something like that. And then in all of October, I made a $500. I think maybe $300, something like that. And it's been growing steadily since then, because I don't know anything about marketing and I'm trying to learn and all that. But I am learning. If you've been a fan of my podcast, what is your most likely comment to be? Oh, you've really improved with time. And so last year, I put up a slots journey to help people go step by step through my stuff, and made stuff to be there for them to do that. And this year is all about polishing, and making everything better. Wax on, wax off. And so I will be doing more of that. And that's where the entertainment channels are now. They've taken it to the max. Now they're like, can't do any more. We're going to have to do this and maybe make small adjustments, and otherwise we're doing it, and that's it. I don't even think I've scratched the surface on helping you win. What's going to happen? What might I do, which is talk a lot more about how to get out of the casino with your winnings. Because if you don't get out of the casino with your winnings after you learn how to win from me, then it doesn't hurt the casinos at all. I'm not trying to hurt the casinos, but that's great. They're just like, well, you won, but you gave it all back. Good for you. Good for them. And so I'm going to focus more on these details about HHR machines and Class 2 machines and State of Washington machines, so that I can make sure everybody has a way to win, and then and counteract whatever casinos are doing. And maybe they come up with more stuff and I find other counter strategies. Maybe I dig into online. But besides winning, there's also getting away with your wins, getting out of the casino with your wins. And I'm going to be spending more time on that to help you do that. And that's where all the goodness is. I mean, this is kind of like coaching. I was talking with somebody who does coaching, and this is coaching. Get out of the casino with more money. And why might that be? I know if you haven't won, if you haven't been getting hand pays and you suddenly are, that you have to, practice in order to be able to do it naturally. But that's where I want to start, polishing things up for my website and getting my marketing figure, reading books on marketing and doing all that. So the future holds that. Now, there's also another possibility, and I was asked this 3-4 years ago on one of the podcasts that I was being interviewed on. What if the casinos buy you out? And I had a post on Facebook, one of the Facebook groups this morning, when I posted this a couple hours early and saying, come to my live show. And they said, well, I think they said, you'll be bought out. Can I be bought out? You know what? I have a number in my head, and every year it goes up. So I can be bought out. I can be asked for, well, it used to be like $40 million, but now I know better, and it's like $180 million in revenue a month. And that sounds like a good number to me this month. And timer, putting a 2-minute timer on that. And it's over. But it's a new time, the new number. And yes, but I don't think you'll be hurt by that because it's technology. It's the genie's out of the bottle. There's so many other slots channels that are like, we're using the professor's 5-spin method. If I was knocked out of the game, and one way to do that would be to pay me off, and another way to do that, which I don't think I would like very much, because then what I'm going to do with my time, I always have to be busy. But I can't sit on a beach and drink beer. I'm just like, well, it's been 5 minutes. That's about it for me, and go back and cause trouble for somebody. It's best for me to continue to do this, but I can be bought off. But you need not worry, because all the ideas are out there, and you can't put the genie back in the bottle. You just can't. No matter what happens to me. You're welcome. Let's see. The future holds more about how to get out of the casino. The future holds more details about specifically what kind of class machine are you playing, and outside of the classes, what type of class 2 or what type of class 3 are you playing, in more details that way, trying to get people directed to the content they need for what's going on in the States. One of the things that we're going to see, besides HHR machines going to every state with horse racing without having to change a gambling law, because it's just horse racing regs that are needed. You get rid of a slot machine in one of those casinos, and it's like, just look up the shooting a horse, because it's been drugged, and apply that to your slot machine, or being removed that way, or other violations, and so those apply to slot machines instead. And they just use horse racing rules. But there are other things coming which you may not know about. For instance, there is slot machines at convenience stores, gas stations, truck stops. Tennessee prohibits slot machines. But apparently that's not enforced or something, because every traffic stop has them, and there's a lineup to them, and they're open 24 hours a day, and it's just massive, the market. And there's lots of little companies that are saying, well, let's see. And I think I mentioned these numbers to you before. Again, in Indiana, a slot machine makes a profit. This is what they make after returning 90%. They make 10%, and that 10% is $518 a day times 30.4, which is the average number of days in a month. Just about 16,000. One machine. So if you have 5 machines, that's just about $80,000 in your convenience store. Wouldn't you like to have that pure profit? Huh? So that's becoming very popular, and you have to find the used machines, and you have to install them, and you have to do all that. And so this is something that's spreading like wildfire, but you may not hear about it. And the gambling rules on those are very iffy. So to learn more about my 30 Days to Play Slots Smarter and Win online course, currently at 50% off for $100 savings, visit my website at professorslots.com/30 days for a complete description, testimonials, and the valuable bonuses you'll get with the course, including lifetime access, 1 month free access to my Slots Enthusiast Growth Network support community, a free PDF of my book, Learning to Win, spreadsheet templates for slots record keeping for income tax preparation purposes, and gameplay analysis. Links to both are in the video description. It's after 1. Good luck, everybody, with taxes. If you had hand pays, and if you didn't have hand pays, all gambling income is taxable, not just above the taxable limit. Sorry for the bad news, but good luck with taxes. Mine have worked out. It was a hit, but I planned on doing it. I planned on paying those taxes for like 6 months or more, and so I managed it, and that's good. So, you guys take care, and I'll see you later. Improve your slots performance in 30 days or less with my 30 Days to Play Slots Smarter and Win. You'll also get 3 free valuable bonuses, including 1 month free to my Slots IQ membership group, where you get community support and accountability. Visit professorslots.com/30 days to learn more about the free bonuses, course content, and testimonials from participants. You can also get this course for free if you sign up for my advanced slots course, Slots Labs, at professorslots.com/SL. The next episode of the Professor Slots podcast will include another slots-related topic, a review of the slots gaming industry in Louisiana, and another thoroughly enjoyable live stream Q&A session. That's the end of another great episode of the Professor Slots podcast. Thanks so much for listening. I plan to have the next episode come out very soon for you, where I'll have more amazing content for the show. Until the next episode, have fun, be safe, and make smart choices. Bye.